What's the worst excuse you've heard from someone who was caught being a pervert? Caught a guy hiding in the bushes outside my house. His excuse: I'm the caretaker next door. I'm trying to catch the kids stealing washing off the clotheslines. There was no washing on the clotheslines. His name was Billy. Billy got the bash. Of course there was no washing on the clothesline. The kids all stole it. An ex-co-worker of mine got caught trying to molest a sleeping 8-year-old girl. He was partying at the house with the mother and father of said girl all night and ended up crawling into her bed and doing stuff to her while she was passed out. Luckily the girl was aware enough to call him out and dad and mom came and put a stop to it and called police. Anyways, his excuse to the police judge jury was, I thought she was the adult girl I was talking to earlier. So yes, his excuse was basically, Your Honor, I thought I was raping someone else. I didn't know she was a minor. He's in jail now, so that's good. Not blaming the parents at all, but this is one of the reasons I will never allow drunk people at home when my child is home. I know some people think it's okay, but I have trust issues since 2 of my siblings have fathers that are child molesters. I went out in my boxers to get the pizza, and the button happened to be undone. Man who met a pizza delivery girl with his dong out. Caught a guy grabbing my junk after I had passed out at a party. I woke up and whacked him in the face. He said, I thought you were asleep. Oh well, pardon me. My ex-husband had a very similar situation when he was a teenager. Jeff passed out at a party and woke up to his mid-20s co-worker suckling on his doodle. When confronted, the guy said, I was just trying to help your dreams. Double quote. Because apparently rape helps people sleep better in this dude's mind. I worked at a movie theater for my first job. There was this guy who would always wear a long, trench-style bubble coat, even if it's like July. This was around the time Diary of a Wimpy Kid came out. Dude was probably 60 plus and would only buy a drink and multiple tickets to successive showings of that movie. He would sit in the back completely covered by his coat, like you would sit on the couch, knees up to your chest, with a blanket. That's how he sat in that coat. He would be there for hours watching this movie 2-4 times depending on how many showings we had. Anyway, with his drink, he would also empty the napkin dispensers. I mean like 2 or more dispensers. Claimed his drink was messy. Caught him one day walking out after the movie and those napkins were balled up to the size of a goddamn basketball. Multiple people witnessed it over the course of the movie being in theaters. So we took his picture, banned him, and told the nearby theaters about him. Never saw him again. I was a supervisor at a water park when I was 20. A lifeguard called me over and said, I'm not sure how to say this, but I think that guy over there is being inappropriate. There was a large man standing against the pool wall with his arm in the water and it appeared that he was masturbating. When I walked up to him, he didn't stop. He just pressed himself up against the wall closer and moved his arm more slowly. When I got closer, I could also see his shorts were around his knees. I called the police and told him he needed to pull up his pants and come with me. He kept telling the cop that the drawstring on my shorts got tied around thing and I was trying to get it off. Edit. Apparently some people think I shouldn't have called the cops. There was a grown man masturbating in a pool where children were swimming. Of course I'm calling the freaking police. Oh, he was trying to get it off, alright. The 21-year-old friend of my older sister, too drunk to drive home. Caught by my mother while he was in the bed with me, 9 years old, with his hands down my pants and mouth everywhere else. His explanation? I thought she was her sister, who has a room 2 floors down and was a very well-endowed 20-year-old, right next to the couch he was supposed to be sleeping on. I'm so sorry that happened to you. He just wanted to feel the texture of my tights in my crotch. A good friend of mine's sister's boyfriend got arrested for child pee and they found a video on his phone of him filming my same friend's girlfriend in the shower through a crack in the door. It had one of those locks that acts like a small chain rather than a bolt. Up until that point they had been on side with him as he had said his computer was hacked initially. His excuse for the shower video was that he was trying to use the steam from the shower to cleanse the lens on his camera by putting it past the door. This was 6 years ago and he's still in jail. That's a pretty creative excuse. Idiotic nonetheless, but creative. Growing up, we had a peeping Tom in the neighborhood. He came out at night and peered in windows. I didn't hear him say it, but when he was caught, The guy insisted he was a fisherman out looking for night crawlers. Though this was my brother's room. "Oh yeah, mother sucker, so you thought you were going through my brother's drawers?" said to a guy standing there, deer in the headlights look, with my underwear in his hand. I was a cafe manager for a bookstore, and a regular customer kept hitting on a 16-year-old worker. She came to me, so I told him to leave her alone. He was in his 40s. He followed me to the storeroom, knocked on the door, and told me she shouldn't dress like that if she didn't want to be bothered. We wore long sleeve shirts and ties. I told him it didn't matter if she was naked. She is selling coffee and not herself. Caught an ex-friend groping up a passed out drunk girl at a party and looking under her clothes. What? It's not like she'll remember. That makes it even worse. Buddy of mine has fairly bad eyesight, really nearsighted. I've caught him ogling dudes whilst we're out and about, and he'll try to deny it. But what he doesn't realize is that it's super obvious, because he has to squint really hard in order to see them properly. So whilst most people would glance at someone's butt as they went past, he'll be standing there giving it the full Senor Chang reading a note treatment. Luckily, nobody's called him out on it yet, but I can't wait to see him try to talk his way out of it. Upvote for Chang reading a note reference. I saw someone else doing it to someone, so I wanted to see what the hoopla was about. Keep your hands to yourself. Hoopla. I caught a man looking through the sliding glass door on my balcony watching me sleep. Stupidly, I opened the door to confront him and he said I thought someone else lived here before jumping over the railing and running off. A band instructor came up behind me and grabbed my breasts. He said he was just trying to remember my name. By my cup size? I can't remember faces, but I never forget a pair of tea doesn't seem like a terribly compelling excuse. I'm gay. Kevin Spacey. I'm gay. iDubbbz. Age is just a number, yeah, and you're an adult who just asked me what kind of underwear I wear, and whether I would date you. Back TF off. Age is just a number, so is a prison sentence. Happened to my sister. She wasn't a flat-chested girl, and when she came to work, a male colleague pulled her top apart and said to undo a few buttons. When she protested, she was met with the excuse, "It's a restaurant, what do you expect?" More mild than some of the others, but I once asked a guy to stop staring at my chest. It was blatant and I really just wanted it to stop. The response, "Your boobs aren't even that big." Ooh, I know that one. Follows the same logic as calling someone a S for turning down your advances, usually followed by "you're ugly anyway." I was a server and the cook reached deep into my pocket, which was basically located right above my crotch. He claimed that he just wanted to keep my money from falling out. Had a senior do this to me when I was a freshman, looking for my phone. I didn't have a phone at that time, and it was the front pocket of a hoodie, and they got a nice handful of my freshman-aged phone. Very uncomfortable. Calm down. I was only joking, FFS. Man, I had this happen to me lately by a friend despite me saying keep your freaking hands to yourself. Stop touching my leg. Nope. Apparently it's a joke. It's only a joke if it's funny. Dickhead. Edit. Okay, rephrase. It's only funny if both people find it funny. It's humorous lame like dad jokes. It's only funny if it's not harassment harming the other person. Mom goes to take a shower and boyfriend is with the 5-year-old daughter. When mom comes out, 5-year-old's pants are off and boyfriend's dong is on top of her privates. He looks up and says, "It's not what it looks like." I can explain. He couldn't. He's still in prison. I wonder what his explanation was. I'm on the spectrum. Ah, frick this. I'm on the spectrum and I hate it when people use it to excuse their inappropriate behavior. You're a creep. Autism might have something to do with it, but you have no right to use that as a defense. Caught a person at my job masturbating through his clothes. You're too quiet. You snuck up on me. Like, mother, just get out. Another student taking up skirt pictures of me in high school. When I called him out, he said, "Come on, just let me do it." EWW, I'm so sorry and I hope you were able to get him to stop and to report it to the level that you were comfortable with. I was asking for it by smiling and being friendly to him. I was 16 and running the store while the owner was gone. Horrifying what people think is okay. Guy on Twitter who we caught being pervy towards a 14-year-old. I just wanted to be her sexuality mentor. Grooming. The word he's looking for there is grooming. Stuck his hands down my pants while I was sleeping, when I clearly said nothing was going to happen. When I was upset I was overreacting. I had a similar experience with an ex. I broke up with her and she tried to grab my dong. When I told her that it's kinda frick to just grab a guy's dong, she said that because I'm a guy I shouldn't mind. What? Construction workers in the building across my apartment could see into my room apparently. They showed me a pee they shot of me and my GF cause they thought it'd think it was cool or funny. I have an announcement to make. I'm moving to Costa Rica. Update. Just checked our Dunder Mifflin. I saw 2 posts about this comment. The fricking look that everyone give him. The 55-year-old man who had been charged and convicted of pedophilia. Edit, I meant convicted of child molestation. As someone pointed out, she smiled at me. I thought she wanted it. Those are my favorite type of people. She totally wants you, dude. No, she's just being a nice person to people as is expected. I heard a new one the other day. Persistence beats resistance. The world is a little fricked up. This is a good motto for many endeavors, just not that one. It didn't mean anything. She was showing me how to do it and I wanted to feel how I should move. The man who put his hand on my butt during a swim lesson I was teaching. My brother's crazy ex-girlfriend's ex. Creep catchers. They call him out for telling a supposed 12-year-old he's gonna get a big box of condoms and they're gonna do anal and blah blah blah. So he's making excuses and stuttering and saying he thinks 12-year-olds can make their own decisions and he wouldn't care if his little sister did that, and if 12-year-olds can smoke peapot they can have sex with someone who's in their 20s. It was like 12 minutes long and the people were leaving and he kept chasing after them going just let me explain, and kept repeating the IFT 12-year-olds can smoke peapot, and it was so gross and embarrassing. I was watching a video on YouTube about catching predators in the act and this guy was staring into a 10-year-old girl's room while eating a hard-boiled egg at 2 AM. The people filming confronted him and he said that he wanted to look at the house because he might want to buy it. What got me was that when they panned to him, the subtitles would say, "Eats egg." We're related. It's fine. S. That makes it worse. The universals. It's not what it looks like often followed by, "It was an accident. I tripped and fell and landed this way." This is none of your business. I was the administrator in charge of the facility where he was about to have sex with a random guy in the public bathroom. Banging in the library would be the next best hit right below smoking in the boys' room. There was the one celebrity, I don't want to look it up, because I don't want child pee to be in my search history, who was caught with a bunch of child pee on his computer. He claimed it was for research to try to catch the real pedophiles. Pete Townsend of The Who. There is a joke about it in Gavin and Stacey. I'll say to you what I said to him. Where's the book? Who was the uber religious conservative preacher that was big on anti-gay legislation, but they caught him doing coke with a bunch of gay prostitutes. Because I think his excuse was he was just getting a massage or something like that. I think you're thinking of Ted Haggard, but they have been a couple. Said by a former friend of mine, I don't care if she is 12 or 22. If she is developed I'm going to stare at her and imagine fricking her. I'm a man and I have a biological right to do so. Due to this and similar other actions and statements we are no longer friends. My response to anyone with this argument is along the lines of yes, humans are animals, but we have higher cognitive function to tell us if what we're doing is morally right or wrong. When you don't use that, you're being a fricking animal. Ugh. From younger me when I got called out for trying to get nudes from girls. I have depression. Frick, I was a creep back then. I'm lucky that happened when I was around 15 and not when I was older, because I learned a lot from it, and as much as I cringe and feel crappy looking back on it, at least I can say I'll never do that again. Hey, good on you for not only owning up to it, but changing. Caught my then BF, who was 20 at the time, Snapchatting inappropriately with a 14-year-old girl. He said, well, my best friend's dad died and my mom and sister are fighting. I said to him, what does that have to do with anything? It's no excuse. Then he started bawling and yelled at me, are you calling those excuses fricking creep? Dude, my ex was 18 and trying so hard to get with 13-year-olds. He would even tell everyone he was only 15 to try and get them to like him too. It was so gross. The dozens of patients who appear in emergency rooms after terrible slip and fall accidents. They must all have terrible luck and excellent aim because they come in with fruit, vegetables, shampoo bottles, soda bottles, candlesticks, other vaguely cylindrical objects stuck in their butts. A diamond Pepe, it only appears once in ever 20 million memes. This is the rarest Pepe, like in 5 seconds for good luck. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video.